This week, the leaves are like flowers, but the trees are losing them because it's fall. We're losing our egos if we dare to give them up. It's that time of year astrologically. Look inwardly and see what you need to let go of. Welcome.
Hi there, Aries, and welcome to your modern shaman, Maria and RainbowLand, here with the weekly forecast for the week that starts at the 22nd and ends at the 29th of October 2018. So it's a full moon weekend. It's very interesting, or week. It's very interesting. This is the Heartful forecast, and we are starting with the personal Aries report that lasts for 5 minutes. We ended with a card reading, tarot, and then we go into the bigger picture afterwards. So for the ones that just want a short report, you just start with the first section here, and then you can go into the collective report afterwards. So again, let's just put it like this. This is a week of transformation. This is a week where you decide what is it now that you have to do in order to transform these things in your life. You've probably experienced a lot last week, some tumultuous things that came up, and you having to decide to change, to decide to pick another path than you usually do, and to go down the road that feels the best for you inside your heart in your relationships. And this week it's all about transforming on two levels, either or. It's about a material thing, something you want to manifest, or something to do with your money, your resources, where you need to transform something, or it's about in your life with your personal relationships and inside of you. It's never always the other person. And then it's about something to do with an emotional level, a spiritual level of yours. Maybe you really need to alter a spiritual level inside of you and to step it up to a new level. Ascension. These are strong ascension times, but we don't come about them just with, like, even though Uranus is involved in this full moon, we don't just come about them in an easy way where we can just suddenly get an epiphany. We really have to deal with past wounds, past traumas, past things that need to heal on a deeper level. Let's see where it is that I'm sitting instead of just looking at me, because you're getting the last light of the day, and the end of this report you will see this in daylight, the last hours of the day being filmed from the air with my drone. So yeah, isn't this nice? Can you hear the birds singing? Beautiful. They are practicing all summer, and now they can sing. Let's look at the fire. Well, okay, so on the psychological, emotional level, or the deeper spiritual level, you have some kind of goal or purpose right now that you really, from the heart, wants to work towards. But what do you need to remove inside of your life to create a space for this inside of you? So there's a new energy coming, new energy. Then we have the Sun conjunct Venus this week, and this is something to do with your passion in your love life. Maybe you're thinking about how to go deeper into things with your romantic partner. It can be sexual as well, because it's strong sexual energies when we are in Scorpio for us Aries, because it's in our 8th house, Scorpio's natural house. I'm sorry if the sound is a little lower once I film the fire, but the Venus Sun conjunction it's shining on your love relationships, and it's the sun, and it's shining upon your creativity. So there will be probably a lot of love and affection from the people around you and the people who love you, unless this big change you have to make is creating a little bit of havoc at first. But in this week you should kind of have made a decision from last week's tumultuous final callings, some relationships might have altered and changed a lot during last week and this week, even though it's not an easy week necessarily. It's should be some new steps taken in this direction. So usually the Venus-Sun conjunction is a social aspect here in Scorpio, but it's also spiritual and deeply transforming, as I said. So it's very intense, and it can also mean that new love or friendships comes in, and Venus is also money, so you can attract material goods, maybe that has something to do with some past issue you had with someone, and you get some money back that someone owed you. But Venus can also be slightly lazy, so maybe you want to spend more, or not necessarily party, because in Scorpio we don't party, but use more money than usual. So it's more like deep committing here. Since Venus, now a car is coming, so let's just, so since Venus is getting closer to Uranus, the opposition to Uranus, it can also be that some kind of unexpected love comes into your life if you don't already have a partner, or of course it could also be someone from your past opening up for you again, or a new layer of your relationship, the one you already have. It can also be that the relationship needs to reach different levels. Like, for example, in twin flame relations, there's often a time period where you split, where there's a time apart, because each of the twins need to really, they have reflected each other's bad sides, and can also be in soulmate connections, but primarily in the twin connections there's a strong mirroring, much stronger than in normal relationships. So here, oh wow, the moon is gonna come up over here. You probably can't see it yet, but it's up there behind the trees. I can't wait, since we're talking about a full moon also. Especially in the twin flame relationships, it's mirroring. We are mirroring each other so much that you really show in twin relations you show your partner the partner's worst sides, and the partner shows you your worst sides, and it's a lot to handle at first. So often people think, but also in normal relationships, when someone is mirroring something back at you, you're like, maybe I should find someone who just wants to live with my bad sides. But for all of us, when we get them reflected, instead of running, we should say, okay, what is it that he is saying to me? What is it that she is saying to me? Could there be something about it? And then accept, of course, that there's a pace that your partner wants to or can change in, and maybe one of the partners is more fast, or too demanding, wanting the other to change too fast. So of course we need to give space also. Sometimes you need a part separate, and this can be the Uranus opposition and to Venus coming soon, and the full moon on top, with the moon on top of Uranus, like within a degree. It really means that a sudden change can happen. Someone can leave your life suddenly, or someone can come in suddenly into your life, and it can cause a tumultuous. Let's look at the fire again. It can cause some tumultuous inside of your life, because whoa, what was that? What just happened there? What do I need to? Okay, maybe I should take it a little closer to my mouth so you can hear me. Maybe I need to. Just a second. To really try to breathe deeply, even though I'm a little scared of the information that I got now and the new situation. But you have to trust the process, as always. It's so important to really, instead of you're really vulnerable, because you're gonna have to show vulnerabilities in your love life and in your finances with this aspect. Then still, instead of panicking so that you will lose something that was, because you can lose something in this aspect, definitely, or someone, but if you have patience, love, and forgiveness, let's just repeat that. Patience with the other person, love, and forgiveness, it should be alright. Forgive. If you know that your partner is trying his or her best. Give them the time they need. It's important you would want that too, right? Because it's not always easy to change the old patterns, and often there's a cleaning of the past that comes along with it that's heavy and hard. So forgive if your partner has promised you never to do this or say that again, and the partner does it anyways. If you know the intentions were to not do it, forgive, forgive, forgive. If you can't forgive, it's often because you're not good at forgiving yourself, or too perfectionist, too much in Virgo in your chart, perhaps. But yeah, so of course, patience, love, and forgiveness will turn any unexpected events into opportunities for greater security and stability. And relationship uncertainty can also be turned into reassurances. Wow, fire. And commitment. So in this process, so of course, Pluto and Saturn has been putting a pressure upon the Aries for a long time in the 10th house, and it's also been making it so that we want to isolate more, perhaps, because it's with Pluto and Saturn, it's all about creating patience and persistence and the ability to say, okay, I'm now gonna let go and release things. And it's also a test of your strength and your character. You have to know that right now with these planets in square. So you will learn to stand up for yourself, but also have to learn to find a balance. And when opposition comes in your life and someone stands in opposition to what you think, don't be ruthless, even though Pluto is there, right? So, but of course, with this Venus, you can see how fast it goes dark now, and I see the moon coming. With this Venus, the moon, full moon, in conjunction the moon with Uranus, it's gonna bring some uncertainty and instability into your financial situation. Can at first feel that you need to take a risk, but we don't gain if we don't take risk. We have risks also financially. We have to take some risks here. And since we are having all this in Scorpio and in opposition in Taurus, the moon and Uranus and the sun, Venus and Mercury over there in Scorpio, it's about your money, resources, and someone else's money and resources where you share them, and a risk and a sudden change in this to the positive direction, or the for now seemingly unstable side where you're like, oh, now I'm uncertain, I don't know, but trust the process. If there's something you know and have known for a long time that you needed to do, then it's definitely right, even though it feels unstable for now. You have to know that and trust the process. Wow, this is being a long report for the Aries again. I don't know if it's because I'm Aries too that you guys always get more attention. But don't tell the other signs too loud. So wow, the fire is catching on. So I'm cleaning some garden garbage, not garbage, but things that needs to be, yeah. But Venus at the same time is in a steady relationship with Saturn, so things can also stabilize more if you're in a good vibe with someone in a good process. So at the same time will have instability financially in your relations, love life or financial, you also can draw upon the Venus Saturn sextile that can give you some steady positive energy in another relationship or in the same relationship. So don't be freaked out, just trust the process. And if you're in a situation where you feel like you have to free yourself and something have to end in a dramatic way, with Uranus there, then you have to know that no one ever leaves your life or gets out of your life unless it's supposed to be there, and they will come back if they're meant to be there. So don't worry, don't freak out. So even though we have these cycles in our lives, which is all about astrology, and nothing is final and necessarily now, because 2 times we will have Venus returning to this area. So 2 times more, as she's retrograding over the area where the full moon is now, then she'll go forward again on 1 time because it's so close. There will be a new phase of the same situation in a while as she moves forward. So I will mention in the other report, the other part, the second section of the report, when these times will be. But if something is unstable now, there will be a new situation around it where things can change dramatically again. So we have 2 times of dramatic change this week, and then in some weeks ahead. So don't follow trends, follow your heart, of course. Let me see if I can find something with a heart on. Not a hard on here. And it's not the middle finger, even though it can look like it. And Aries can be provocative. So here we have the moon. She's rising over here. It's not so easy when there's not so much light for the camera to get it, so now it gets unclear. So you can see that I should be grateful for this position where I'm sitting, and I am. I am very grateful for being able to be here, close to one of Denmark's oldest forests. As I'm filming the Aries in English and Spanish. By the fire. I forgot to say, Aries, and now it's getting dark, as you said, that it's also all about committing on a very deep level, a deep commitment to other people, or to that person or these persons. It's either or. It's not just, I commit half-heartedly. It's all about deep commitment now. We cannot just, let's take it on the surface. It's either or. Either you commit deeply to yourself and take a break for yourself and time to take a breather, or you really commit on a new level now. As I said last week, at the end of last week, it was time to make a decision to really commit on a deeper level to someone, more than one, and it can also be both in work and in personal life. And then this week, now we are on a new level, or we're not on-ish. I forgot to take the card of the week. It's gonna come now. If you want to gain more from the money situation you have, this is a good week. Even though we have unstable situations as well. And if you really want to connect to someone on a deeper level, and you're able to forget and move on with certain things, then this is a really good week to connect deeper on a very deep level and find that faith in that other person in your life that you actually want to connect to and commit to on a deeper level. There's a chance this week, but you need to dare take risks and admit things to yourself. And remember, if there's any resistance inside of you and it doesn't feel like your intuition, it's your ego. And what about that ego? What can we really use it for on this path towards enlightenment? If you're on this channel, your intuition brought you here. Well, you are on a channel of someone who wants to walk the path towards reality. Yeah, but we have the moon up here, and then right to the right and a little down to the right we have Mars, our planet Aries. I don't know if it's possible to see, but it's our planet and the moon, oh yeah, in Aquarius. That's when I'm filming this.
Be still, quiet your mind. We are now at the collective report. We're traveling through nature. And the first message here is, be still and quiet your mind and your life. This is more important than anything else that I say in any report. Be so still that you can touch your heart and hear your heart beat. Tick, tick, tick. Without this, all of these reports that I do, or that you hear, are so very unimportant. Because if you're never still, if you never quiet your mind and hear the heart speak, then your ego is running the train. And you'll be driving around in circles. If you want to get off the train and come to another level, time is up now to find your way into silence and stillness. And believe in that you dare let go of your ego and hear and listen to the needs of your higher self. Do you dare to become a servant for something bigger than the ego? Something as a part of you already know the road towards? Or are success and control and all your learned programming is more important to you? Have you even discovered who you are or what your calling is? Can you feel this consciously? Or there too much clutter and dirt? If there is too much clutter and dirt, you know what step one will be now. To try to don't identify yourself with the noisy voices inside a certain place, which is overruling anything good anyways. It's not giving you any joy, and it's overruling anything inside of you. And this part of you cannot forgive. This part of you will just hold on in order to get drama. Get you in the front seat. Get you in the front of everything you do. You are the loving, forgiving you. Someone who doesn't hold on. Someone who says no to negative manipulation, violence, and power. Who, whenever confronted, just leaves without a fight, quietly and peacefully, if it's not right for you to be there. And if we cannot say no and stay in this peaceful, quiet ego state where the ego is quiet and you just hear the voice of your heart when you speak, you hear that you're soft in your voice, you hear that there's nothing inside of you that judges the other person, you feel your heart, you feel that you can speak without wanting something from someone else, then your ego is away. And if someone's overstepping your boundaries, you just say no peacefully with the same voice and you walk away. If you start fighting, you will know that it's no longer you. It's your ego that has started to take over again. My brother, Jacob, he's a math professor. And I love him so dearly. We have had some sort of reunion. Not that we were at a phase where we never saw each other, but we reconnected in our hearts in such a beautiful way. And I remember 3 days ago, prior to this reading, and I remember that he would always have in his wallet when I was 16 a note that said, no, when he was 16, I was 8, a note that said, treat others like you want to be treated yourself. And he was 16 and he was actually the popular guy in school. And isn't it cool that the popular guy is a role model instead of just someone looking good? I love my brother for this. He always tried as the best he could. I mean, we all have ours. But as my parents also always tried to treat others kindly. And this is this kind part of our hearts that I'm talking about. I just want to say that anyone who has a lot in Scorpio and certain things in their horoscope that are being hit, the crises are worse for you guys right now. So old fear can be triggered from outside of you to the max, and you have to remember that the ones who are triggering it are not the responsible ones for you having this inside of you. So try not to go into the victim role, where you let your old fears take you down to that lower part of yourself where you cannot control anything because you're just in affection, thinking you're now being hit or being the victim, being someone who is a victim for someone else. No, someone else is trying to show you something. It's like that for all of us. Old fear are triggered from the outside to the max these days. So Venus is definitely in a crisis week right now. She's squaring the stuff that went up there in Aquarius. I won't go too deep into all this. So the Venus-Uranus opposition and all this also from last week. Going into this week, you can expect a sudden turn of events of something. The moon will go through Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. So the moon will start off trying to start new stuff up with energy and a lot of, let's do this, oomph and fire and maybe also selfishness, but it will square the things up there in the 10th house, so there will be some confrontations with authority figures and some letting go. And during the first part of the week, moves into Taurus, crosses over Uranus, and is in opposition to all the things in Scorpio. This means that we will definitely feel tense and increased tension around the things we're working with right now as we move into the middle part of the week. And as we were Wednesday, as it meets Uranus, a sudden shift, change of events can happen again. And at the weekend, next week, it will be in Gemini, communicating, talking, being out and about, King Kongsing. The things in Scorpio, weird, awkward things can come up as well, situations. But the energy will be a little lighter than it was middle week. But definitely an intense week still, as we are now, really in Scorpio. So with the sun as well. So there's different change of directions with Venus in this Venus retrograde phase that I've mentioned many times, which is 40 days and nights until the 15th of November, and then out of the actual whole cycle at the 18th of December. So it's a long cycle, but there will be shifts for you around the 31st of October when Venus is in Libra again, where she's at home. More light air energy instead of Scorpio. So a shift on the 31st of October. A shift again on the 16th of November, or 15th, 16th, depending on where you are, when she's at the bottom of her bow tie in her retrograde phase. You will now feel that you are able to move forward with a new light and new glasses on, and all the very, very deep and hardest issues in your relationships might be possible to let go of here, but only if you really feel them, so it also feels the hardest. So at the 2nd of December, she'll be back into Scorpio again in opposition to Uranus, so a lot can happen here too. There's a turning point that does so that the things that you thought were like they were aren't like that at all. And we are going through over the critical zone again here and see what the future can bring for us after all of this. What have we learned? How can we do this even better when we're in relationships? Can we redecide some of the things that we decided for early on that we maybe discovered weren't the right things for us, but we learned from. For the Scorpios themselves, relationship situations shift constantly now, new people in and out constantly. So there's a full moon this week, as I said, so it's going to be a very intense week. Venus opposition to Uranus, something really strong, some really strong intensity comes in, and the notes are squaring Uranus, as we talked about. That is really intense in this Grand Cross. So money and intensity and sexuality are the things that's going on in Scorpio. So other people's money, your money, what do we do with money? Money we share with other people. Sexually, reshaping, redoing, reformulating things in regards to these things. With Venus retrograde here and Jupiter, Mercury is here, Sun is here. So it's all about relationships on a deep level, also the relationship to ourselves. So all water signs are endings, and the first 6 signs in the zodiac are personal signs. They are all about me, I am, I have, I think, I feel, etc. And the next 6 are the impersonal signs. And we have entered a month ago the impersonal signs, where it's about us and the other people in different levels. So usually something new starts in Aries, and Aries is the unconscious energy, sign number 1. And the actions through Taurus and Gemini and Cancers are unconscious about what it's doing, and it ends, this unconscious doing and moving about, etc., is ending in Cancer, in the water sign of Cancer, the 4th sign. So we go through fire, earth, air, water. So we start with the fire in Aries, we go into the earth energy, calm down, feeling can be heavy in Taurus. Then we go to the air energy, talk about lightness, skirting over the surface in Gemini. And then a little bit heavy with water. It's always heavy because it seeks towards the ground, right? And dies is flushed away with the water in Cancer. That was the unconscious energy and actions. And then we'll have a self-conscious period with Leo, where it starts again with fire, and then ideas, and going into Virgo, where it's earth energy, grounding them, manifesting, materializing the ideas there. And then the self-consciousness moves into Libra and develops in regards to relationships, and then into water again. Libra was also air, talk, being about in a lighter thing, and then going into Scorpio, into water signs, where we are now killing the self-consciousness, because we are now in the transpersonal signs and the transpersonal cycle when it starts in Sagittarius, but we have to kill it first in Scorpio. It's a cycle, and this is how we learn and grow on a spiritual and personal level through the zodiac. So everything, Jupiter, Sun, Venus and Mercury are in the Scorpio, so it's the death of our self-consciousness, and it's really spiritual, mega spiritual, a really mega big spiritual opportunity to ascend, of course. Ascension time, spiritual people, light workers, let go of your ego now, and your hurt and your wounds and your blaming others. It's your past you're letting go of. Don't kill the messengers, please. All of our challenges here as spiritual beings are often our ego, that often are more here in the self-conscious and unconscious part of the first 6 signs. But now we have the chance to really move. So even though we have a higher self, and even though we have souls in this whole story, and we are beings, souls in bodies here that usually are just infinite beings in contact with everything, with God or whatever, and then we are also incarnated in this body, in this incarnation, life after life. And in this body we have an ego that loves drama, and this ego is making the big show, which does that we are effing around in our minds, and we cannot find this moderation and relaxations, because desires, wants, and I want more and bigger, new and better, drama, attention. It's the ego. So that it doesn't have to be removed, it'll just be more and more noisy as you try to get silence. So when you start meditating, trying to get into your silence I talked about in the beginning, you have to know that the ego will be louder. Don't be fooled by it. Stop being the victim. of your ego, of other people feeling like it. See that you create your reality. Okay, there's a reason why people do towards you what they do. Find out why. It's because you're not in your heart. Always is because you're not in your trust position of the heart. Yeah, well, it's because Peter was also always a jerk, so of course I cannot trust him. No, but if you really cannot trust Peter, why are you with 3 Peter? Did you give him a chance of being trusted with all of your heart and love? What did you contribute with? Did you dare to walk away from him and treat yourself with that love and respect that you want from others? Because that's what you have to do if you want love and respect. Well, so physically and emotional drama is what the ego wants, and pleasure. So the brain that won't stop thinking is Mercury, rational thoughts. But in Scorpio, Mercury cannot be rational. He will feel the intensity. Usually he wants to say that, if I do this and this, then that and that happens. But here he doesn't have control. But he can see with his heart and his feelings if he dares to. So try to use him to investigate, be the detective, as I said last week. So, well, the ego comes up in Leo, and then we have to go to Virgo to get the control of the whole thing. So, Venus is reviewing our connections also to the body. Venus, and actually Venus is the earthly love, but we also have a more spiritual love with Neptune, and Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. So when Venus goes direct, you'll be coming into a beautiful trine with Neptune. Well, it will still be a while, and Jupiter is going through Scorpio, and he will come into grand trine with Chiron. So there will be beautiful, higher spiritual love waiting for us after this ascension process. Don't hold your breath, but know deep inside your heart that everything will be solved and healed if you dare to let go of your need to control. In Scorpio, we're dealing with issues like loss, betrayal, abandonment, neglect, and abuse, forces beyond our controls, from our partners, ourselves, and our impulses, instincts, and a power through merging with other people and uniting on a deep level. This is connection. The deepest connections is in Scorpio with sexual drive, sexual power and force. And society is ruled by this these days, this force, because it's beyond, it's like the stimulus, like alcohol, drugs, and sex has become a drug, and it's just so accepted because everyone does it, then it's okay. It's like also okay, also like in Denmark, people drink a lot. And it's like, well, everyone does it, so that's normal and thereby accepted. Yeah, but when you drink, you are if you work on your spiritual self, and whenever you drink, you have to know that takes you, because spirituality, when you clear yourself spiritually and meditate, you get into higher levels, higher realms, and every time you drink, you take yourself all the way down again. You have to start all over. And the same thing with sexual stimulants, wanting more. You're just feeding the ego, right? So, we have to open ourselves in Scorpio for the positive sides of Scorpio, and that has something to do with trust, so that we can heal these wounds and love and trust again. So we can open ourselves up for deeper forms of intimacy, connections to others. And the whole intention is to experience this beautiful, sacred sexuality where we connect with our soulmates, our twin flames, on a spiritual level, not just to get stimuli and not just to... But we also have to know that, of course, we take away some of our spirituality if we just use as the sexual intercourse to get an... I just want to be honest here. I don't remember the English word now. When we get release, males or females, our spirituality also drops. So if this is what we want, and we do this after 2 minutes just to get the release, boom, the energy goes out. We have to know that. But if we use this thing we have with each other to go deeper, deeper, deeper within, then it's something else. We can experience this beautiful sacred sexuality. And yeah, in the society, stimulus has something to do with something new and exciting, with all this Tinder and stuff. But sacred union is about real, lasting stimuli for the soul that we can use in the long run as a soul being, even when we're not here. It's when we can reach deeper in, when we are together with our partner instead. But how do we do it? Well, exploring spirituality between us and reach new and fresh layers inside of ourselves, instead of always seeking outwards, as the whole of society is trying to make us. Like this new times relationships, spiritual relationship will be that we will stay together, and more twin flames will incarnate at the same time to rise up the vibrational level here on the planet. And it's our responsibility to go deeper in as conscious light workers, instead of fearing into new relationships, unless it's supposed to happen, of course. But when we know we found the right person, then use the hard times and to instead take responsibility for ourselves, help each other through the hard times. Help each other when the ego comes out. Instead of just always saying, okay, you're not good enough, I don't want you, you have too many errors, then help the soul, goddammit, instead of just escaping and putting more fear into the person. Try to help, and you'll get it back. We get what we give. It's the whole deal. Yeah. So soon enough we'll have Jupiter and Saturn, and expand our consciousness, have fun, explore life on another level. So where do you get your physical and emotional pleasure from? Last thing today, it was a long report, is that if we really want to love, we have to let go of the hurt ego and forgive. The more you feed your ego, the more hurt you will get. The more you feed your ego, the louder it shouts. And when it wants this and that in supermarket, and you just give it to it, it will just shout louder. And that's why it's good to meditate and find soul peace and find out what you actually came here to do on a soul level. What is your purpose? If you can't pinpoint it mentally, then go into your heart and feel every day when you walk around, am I doing something that makes my heart happy? It can just be that you start smiling to other people and spreading love and joy just like that. It's a simple thing. We don't all have to become like this big, great thing. It's just a society that says that. Find your path. Maybe your soul purpose is just to put smiles into this world. Don't follow trends, follow your heart. See you next week. Thank you. Namaste.
There is this angel saying, I'm gonna find my way back home. The secret is love, he said. You've got to lift yourself up, try again. One day you will break through. What you long for will find you.
Don't follow trends, follow your heart.